tonight is an ode to ancient times. I'm making a tribute to an earlier art style. Stick around to the very end. I hope you enjoy the show. I'm going to try my hand at geometric art. Just a little background. It is what you would think it is. It involves shapes. But there was another element. It was called horror vacui. I know that's pretty fitting for Halloween, but it basically means a dislike for open spaces. So in the past, sometimes artists would use lines, squares, boxes, circles, etc. to fill in all the empty spaces on the surface of a piece. So I hope that I will succeed in conveying the feel of horror vacui using geometric shapes, but still add some of my own element, as in letting some of the natural wood beauty kind of peek through. Just a quick note, I did switch over to my round carbide cutter from my small spindle gouge. My spindle gouge had too much vibration on it, and I don't have a bigger one right now. I need to get a new one. Another great thing about carbide is they're always there as a backup. Well, I did notice a knot develop that was inside the wood. I took the knot out, did a little shaping over the hole, and then I filled it with some thick viscosity STARBOND CA glue along with some thin STARBOND CA glue. And it came out great. It looks like a natural knot, very smooth. I still want to cover it up, so I'm going to section it off after doing a few light cuts here. After cleaning up the sanding dust with some rubbing alcohol, I'm going to use some chalk paint. Chalk paint, if you've never used it before, has great coverage capabilities and it adheres well to all kinds of surfaces. I also used gold leafing paint. Just a quick note on this liquid leaf. I bought this probably over 20 years ago when I was taking art classes in college, and it still works great. Just make sure you have really good ventilation when you're using the leafing paint because it has really strong vapors. I don't think it has anything to do with its age. So when I remounted the vase in my scroll chuck, you'll notice that it's wobbling a little bit now, and that was intentional. I slightly tilt the vase by using tape over one of the jaws as kind of a shim to make some of the lines wider and thinner in sections. It was an attempt to create a technique for an imperfect presentation, if that makes any sense. But if you're going to try this technique, make sure that your piece is still seated on all the tops of the jaws and it's clamped securely. And make sure you drill your hole before you attempt to use the shimming technique. At this time, I'm using a wood chisel to make vertical lines on the top and 2 different size hole punches to make circles. And to help me space out the vertical lines, I did use the indexing on my lathe. For the embellishments, I used 3 colors of chalk paint up top, and for the rest, I used leaf gold paint. However, I did end up changing the top band to a wider band and added some texture with a chattering tool. I felt like it really needed something else. I also framed the chatter work, and it felt to me the piece had more of a feel for horror vacui. I'm quite happy how this came out, and it was a lot of fun turning and playing around with the texturing and the design. I will admit this does look a little bit like Egyptian art from the color scheme, but that wasn't my intention. I just was trying to make it look a little bit ancient, old, a little ratty, a little beat up, and I think I accomplished that. I really like using the glass tubes on bud vases because it makes it extremely functional. You can actually put a little water in here with actual real flowers. On another note, I'm always amazed when I think about how I'm doing a technique or an art or a style that has been done thousands of years ago. It's just awesome. So as always, I hope you stuck around to the very end, enjoyed the show. Stay safe in your shop at all times. Thank you and take care.